Alrighty, folks, we're going to have a pretty in-depth conversation about money, but specifically what to do with your money between deals. Lots of you out there always are asking me, what, Michael, do you do with your reserves? What do you do with your money for your next deal? Michael, you haven't bought anything for a year, but you got all this cash. What do you put it? What do you do with it? And then a second question is, what can you do to generate more income? We're going to have this wonderful conversation with Casey from Brick by Brick Wealth. We're going to play the game of ping pong where we go back and forth. And as always, ladies first. Start wherever you like, Casey.
All right. Sounds good. Well, first of all, I think this is a really important topic because most people only think of one major income source that kind of funds their entire life. And then they think, okay, well, I want to, obviously watching your channel, buy real estate to help supplement my income and have a path for retirement. But there's other things you can do with your money and things you should be doing with your money besides letting it sit in a checking account or a savings account. A lot of, I mean, gosh, if any of us looks at our checking account or savings account, if it's at a regular bank, you're getting what?
Nothing.
1 cent?
Yeah,
0.001. I mean, 0.01, it's terrible. You are losing money, leaving your cash sitting there, waiting to deploy it into real estate. It has to go somewhere else. So one thing, I'll start with the first one that we do is, and we were late to the game with this, but we have a high yield savings account. And I realize now that, you know, I think right now I'm getting 4%, 4 point something, low 4 point something percent, but that's better than 0.01%. Oh, yeah. And, you know, it's a great place. You can see, I mean, we pretty much get, you know, a whole rental income, a whole rental check's worth of money every, you know, just from having our money in a high yield savings account. We really keep the bare minimum now in, you know, our Wells Fargo checking account and our business account. We keep the very bare minimum in there, just enough to kind of cover bills. And we put the rest and, you know, a lot of it in the high yield savings account while we're waiting to, if we are using that, you know, soon for real estate or something like a big purchase.
Yeah, no, I do the same thing. Again, people always ask me, Michael, what do you do with the money as you're waiting for the next deal to come across? And again, it's not financial advice for anybody listening. You're just asking me what I do, and I do the same thing. I either keep it in a high yield savings account or a money market account, both aiming, you know, in today's world for something right around 4%. And the reason is I want to be liquid, right? You can put them in other things that have maturities and whatnot. But again, this is deal money to me. And, you know, I have found situations over the last nearly 3 decades where you need to be hyper liquid. So for money that I have allocated for deal / opportunity, the only answer to me is high yield savings or money market accounts, money that I could essentially have access to in 24 hours or less and write that check. So I think that's genius. I agree with that entirely. What do you got next?
So another one is, you know, everyone has their own unique thing that they are good at. And if you have a W-2 job, or even if you don't, and you're self-employed or whatever you're doing, you know, you're a stay-at-home mom like I was for a whole decade, there's something that you can do to make extra money after work, on the weekends, or all week long, part-time if you want. I think investing in yourself and selling a unique, you know, service or skill that you have, not only is that going to bring extra income, but it's going to bring also some sort of self-fulfillment that, hey, I have something else I can offer this world instead of working for an employer and that sort of thing. You know, for example, I always wanted to be a teacher. I really did. And growing up in California and learning how much teachers make and the cost of living out there, I always thought, gosh, I'm never going to be a teacher because I'll be poor, you know, forever. You know, there's a lot of benefits I've learned to being a teacher. You know, you don't work all year and you get paid all year, that sort of thing. But I started, you know, I started Brick by Brick Wealth in the beginning of 2020 and 2019. I started a service helping people with their first rental property, have a coaching business, like getting to, you know, monetize on my unique skill set is something that I'm so proud of. And I feel like such an accomplished person for being able to do that, especially after having been at home for 10 years with no work history. I think a lot of people underestimate what they can do, the money they can make, and with regards to the skill sets that they already have. I mean, I stayed at home for 10 years, Michael. My last full-time job was right out of college. I worked part-time after that. I, was a realtor after that, part-time between being a mom, moved to Tennessee, lived here, since 2015. When did we move here? 2013. And, for people like me who are mothers and feel like they have nothing that they can offer because maybe they aren't worth anything, you really do. You just got to think about what that is. And for me, mine was real estate. Like, we started investing in real estate, and wow, I can help other moms like me help create extra income for their family so that they're not putting, the whole financial burden on their husband's shoulders. Like, we can help. And, even if that means maybe you're into cars, and I know a guy who flips cars. He buys, fixes them up, when he flips cars. People flip furniture. You've seen that, all the remodels of, the old Broyhill oak, furniture from the 90s. People are flipping and reselling for big money. So think of some other income source that you can do that is fulfilling as well as financially rewarding.
Yeah, I if I'm honest with myself, if you would have told me that 9 years ago when I was still a W-2 employee, I would have laughed in your face, because I wouldn't have believed you. I just wouldn't have believed you. But now, since I've been retired and doing this YouTube thing, I have accidentally built a 7-figure business on something I'm passionate about. What do? I do nothing different. For 30 years, I read the financial news in the morning as I drank my coffee. Now I talk to a camera at 7:30, right? The daily financial news. And then I talk to millionaires, 12 millionaires like you every week. That's all I do. And because I've done that, because I've been consistent, because I'm passionate about it and I enjoy it every day, I now multiple 6 figures by freaking accident. So again, I don't care what your passion is. It could be classic cars. It could be 1950s ice hockey. I got a buddy of mine that I didn't even know this was a thing. Ice hockey trading cards from the 1950s. I don't even know that's a thing, but he makes millions of dollars flipping it. Why? Because when you're good at something and truly passionate about it, you identify value. And once you have that skill to identify value, the world's your oyster. And one thing, again, last thing I'll say about this, in today's world, you either can be a consumer or a producer. And if you are a producer / creator, you have no idea how many income sources you could generate. Brick by brick wealth, your brand, is a 6 and soon to be 7-figure business. And it's amazing in today's world that you could do that from the home, from your spare bedroom or den or wherever you're recording this. So again, I don't care what it is. It could be Beanie Babies, it could be Cabbage Patch Kids, it could be wine, it could be Pokemon cards. I don't care. If there's something you've been passionate about for 10 years or more, there's income that you can make from that. I firmly believe you now.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. And people have to think past what they've been taught. And there are more than one way to make money. And a lot of entrepreneurs and people that are very successful, they have multiple streams of income. I mean, you get AdSense revenue from your videos. That's one thing. You get your school community giving you $20 a month. That's another thing. You get book sales, all these things, not including your rentals. Like, that's all different things. And the cool thing about it is, yeah, a lot of that, a lot of the other money make is generated from your presence on YouTube and all of that. But it's not like you're stuck to one industry. I mean, imagine if all you did was invest in, let's say, short-term rentals in Orlando, Florida, and we get another COVID. Those people took a huge hit because that whole industry, all their money was tied up in tourism. Yep. So it's great to have it diversified into different things, which leads me to my next one, which is private money lending. Now, this is something that we have not done personally, but I am looking into doing. I want to do that this year. Yes, we buy rental properties, but we do have a lot of cash sitting, waiting for our next deal and all of that. And I would like to try out lending money and being a private money lender. And I have a few people who I've been watching that I trust, that I would give them $100,000, no problem. And I trust in them. So I think that would be another way to make some money on the side instead of, letting your, 100K or 50K sit in your bank account. You could make 10 to 12% in 12 months and just keep kind of recycling that same money and investing in the same people and getting a return without, the toilets, tenants, and, whatever, all the things. It's just a different income source. And I think it'd be fun to try. I don't know. Have you done that before?
I've never done it, but I know several private money lenders. I've been doing this so long. I know several that do it. And there's one guy I'm thinking of who we actually borrowed millions of dollars from over the years. He was in the real estate business in the 80s. That's when he was active. And then he chose to sell out in the 90s and take all his chips. And all he's been doing now for almost 3 decades is private money lending. He's got one little hole in the wall office. It's like 300 square feet in Redwood City. And, he's built up a book of business now that's into the 8 figures. And that's all he does. And yes, he forecloses on 2 or 3 properties a year. But, he's so conservative. And he's like, Michael, you really want passive income? This is the way to do it. I'm like, I get it, but I'm still building. But maybe someday, maybe in, I'm almost 54. So maybe when I'm 60, maybe that's what we'll do.
Yeah, I like it. So then obviously the last one that I have is real estate. Like, it has to be in there because it is a really great way to make money. And you can make money in real estate doing long-term rentals, short-term rentals, wholesaling, and I think the thing is you have to pick the thing that works for you. Obviously, anyone that's watching this is likely 99% interested in long-term rentals because that's what we do and that's what we preach. But there are other things. And I talk to new investors all the time. A couple a week, I'm talking to new people interested in getting started with real estate. And sometimes I tell them long-term rentals is not what you're looking for. You might be looking for something else, or maybe you don't have enough savings to really get started with this. And you probably should keep working in your day job. Find another source of income, like your specialty that you can sell a service, or if you want to get into real estate, maybe do wholesaling if you have a lot of time, not a lot of extra money. And, I think people forget that there's an array of things out there and there isn't a one size fits all real estate for everybody. There's a risk level involved with every type of real estate investment. There's the amount of money you have to be realistically successful. Yeah, people can be successful with no money, bad credit, and, be 3 years old. I'm sure there are those people, but for most people, there is a level of investment that you have to have. You have to have your financial house in order and have some savings. And it isn't something that you start when you have no money. So you got to think about that before getting into choosing your real estate strategy to make money. Also, the amount of time that you have. I talked to a girl, I guess it was a couple months ago now, who she said she paid, I don't know, like nearly $10,000 to join this person's coaching program. And it was to help them build a real estate business, right? And they were, leads and all the things were going to be given to her, and she's going to do all these things. But she had a day job, and they had her spending $1,000 or $2 a month on marketing campaigns with, ballpoint marketing and sending out postcards and mailers and all that. And she had to be at her phone so that she could take the cold calls. She had a day job. She couldn't take cold calls during the day. So she's spending all this money on marketing for these leads that she couldn't service because she didn't have the time. She didn't have the time. So you've got time, you have money that you need, you have a risk factor that you need, and the knowledge level too to get started. Depending upon the type of real estate that you want to invest your money into, the knowledge level is really important because that's a really quick way to lose a lot of money and start from scratch if you kind of jump into a 100-unit apartment complex because you have a lot of money, but you have no knowledge. Good luck. So,
the last thing I'll say, again, this is not an area you or I play in, but I think it'd be remiss if we didn't talk about it. If you are a stock market investor, there are ways, and again, I strongly recommend you research this, but again, at a high level, there are ways that you can produce income by selling options on stocks that you hold. Again, it's not a strategy that I know or have ever done, but I would be remiss if we didn't highlight there are ways you can produce income by owning stocks and stocks that you love by selling out of the money options. Again, it's not a perfect strategy, but I know several people that execute it and produce nice monthly and yearly incomes. But again, folks, find your thing, know thyself, and stop believing the madness that it's not possible. It is absolutely possible to build wealth in this world. It's absolutely possible to take your passion and area of interest and produce income. And if you do that, that income becomes extra discretionary income, which you can buy assets with and get wealthy. Casey, that is brick by brick wealth, right?
It is brick by brick, one thing at a time. Just keep taking steps forward, one rental at a time, brick by brick, and you'll get there.
Where can people find you?
People can find me on YouTube, Brick by Brick Wealth, on Instagram, Brick by Brick Wealth. And if you're interested in coaching or just seeing what I got going on, you can check me out on my website, brickbybrickwealth.com.
And we'll see you on Saturday morning for the third annual ORAD event.
Come say hi. Come say hi to me if you're watching this.
There you go. Travel safe.